ox carts, whereas last year I got about 3.5 ox carts.
Basi majira maganyu kumagula gambale kumadia yoncho basi.
He says before the coupons he never was able to harvest enough maize to last a year. Now to go around it he would get involved in casual labor to raise some money. Now he says it grows enough.
Mirengo ikozo kala yo itika wambili for imanga yikayo nicho yulu.
He says prices would go down if they keep producing at this level, but it's better so that those who cannot afford maize are able to access maize.
Okay.
I had asked him, wouldn't that also reduce his income? He says it doesn't matter as long as they've got enough to eat.
In the first year, we had one voucher for all the commodities. We thought that was a problem in terms of traceability and accounting for the uptake of the various inputs. So in the second year, we changed whereby we have one coupon for each type of fertilizer and a different coupon for seed, so that we can be able to properly account for the uptake of these inputs. The government, the Ministry of Agriculture, we procured the fertilizer and the seed and distributed them in all the designated selling points throughout the country.
We have currently a membership of about 14 companies, which cover all major fertilizer companies in the country. In February 2006, we approached the government to express the concerns that came about because of the implementation of the 2005-06 subsidy program, and government requested that we put the private sector together so that we can come up with our concerns as one unit.
In the first year, 2005-2006, the retailing was only done through ADMAC and SFRFM selling points. But in 2006-2007, we changed the system to allow bona fide, reputable fertilizer retailers to also take part in the scheme. In other words, a person who has got a coupon had a choice of whether to go to ADMAC, SFRFM, or these identified retailers. At the end of the day, 28% of the fertilizer was sold through these private retailers.
On seed subsidy, yes, we are 100% participating. The subsidy is on all seed that is produced locally, but it's a hybrid seed. Government is not controlling anything about it, but just knowing that there's a seed voucher running around and probably making payments to the seed suppliers after everything else has finalized.
Most of these private retailers are just centered around the urban or semi-urban centers. But we're saying if you can expand, and go into the rural areas, then they can take in a bigger chunk of the program.
Our sole aim was to develop a dealer network. Entrepreneurs who are living in the villages, owning their own shops, have got capacity to store fertilizer, seed, and crop protection products. So we went out during the project to target them, and we came up with a potential of 1,180 outlets. Through that network, we are now able to carry products forward from the importers, who are predominantly town, urban dominated, to the rural.
If we can have an efficient private sector, we may not even, as government, be required to even procure the fertilizer. What we'll be saying is look at identify the beneficiaries, give them the coupons, and they go and get from whatever they want. But we recognize that in some parts of the country, the only source of for inputs is state companies, ADMAC and SFRFM.
If you go back to the 2005-06 season, some companies closed some of their shops, and the 2006-07 subsidy program kind of revived their businesses, and now we are looking forward to another successful 2007-08 season where the private sector has also been allowed to participate both through supply on government tenders and the rural distribution as well.
To the seed industry specific, this kind of intervention is a good challenge, because even the seed companies themselves were unable to unlock the market. Yet the market was there. The seed subsidy was more efficient because it was not public driven, it was purely private. And we organized ourselves, mobilized ourselves so quickly, smoothly down there. We are already motivated. It's our business. We have to do that.
If a private sector company has an order from government, then it combines with its own supplies for commercial sales in rural areas, that it becomes a bigger order and it's cheaper to order in such quantities. The timing is the critical factor.
The biggest issue in my mind is the identification of the beneficiaries. First of all, I think we need to be clear, what is your target? In my mind, it's not, strictly speaking, a social protection program, because there are vulnerable farmers out there who are so poor that even the subsidized price, they cannot afford it. So, in designing such a subsidy program, we have to be realistic that, a certain population of the society may not really benefit unless you have other supporting, structures around it. In fact, for those vulnerable, very vulnerable ones, some of them, you may even just want to give them, some cash transfers, because they're so poor that they can't even benefit from it. It's a huge burden on the national budget, and we need to start thinking about an exit strategy on this. Essentially, we recognize that this has to be the medium to long term. It's something that we cannot just pull out like next year. Our view is that as we're doing the subsidy, we also have to look at the cost of bringing the fertilizer into the country. Let's look at the whole chain from the manufacturers to the ports into the country and see if we can reduce that cost, because we believe that there are so many bottlenecks along the way that result in a huge cost. So if we can find a way of reducing that cost, landed cost, then the subsidy element will be declining along as we go along. But also, if we achieve productivity levels that we desire, farmers would have more cash and therefore less in need for subsidizing. So we can start, scaling down the level of subsidy over time. But realistically, we're looking at maybe in the next 5 to 10 years before we can really see, complete, end of the program.